Shane Dawson just cracked open the vault on his messy past, something he clearly can't stand doing. But here he was, sitting down for his friend's podcast. Yep, Katie Morton, the same Katie you might remember popping up in those old school Shane videos. Shane started spilling about his wild ride on the internet, some heavy regrets. And guess what? Trisha Paytas even jumped into the mix, reacting to what Shane had to say. So, Shane linked up with Katie Morton recently on her podcast, getting real about his career, therapy, and the roller coaster of drama he's lived through. While he was laying it all out there, he touched on the people who used to be tight with him. And that's where it got juicy. One TikTok user snatched a clip from the interview and threw out the idea that Shane was low-key talking about Trisha, and maybe even his old crew, Garrett and Andrew. Now, Shane didn't name drop anybody, but the internet ran wild with their theories. When Oscar later brought this whole thing up to Trisha on another podcast, she didn't hold back. Even though Shane had said he wasn't talking about a YouTuber or influencer, Trisha wasn't buying it one bit. She straight up said she felt like he was throwing shade at her. And honestly, with all their crazy history, who could blame her for thinking that? Trisha didn't hold back. She was straight up calling Shane out for ducking accountability when he started talking about his old friendships. And honestly, she had a point. Shane was out here talking about one of his biggest regrets, being the times he made fun of celebrities, and it was a total curveball to hear that come out of his mouth. Like, really? Most people don't even remember him being dragged for that. It wasn't exactly on anyone's top 10 list of reasons Shane got cancelled. What did come to mind? The whole mess with Kat, the falling out with Trisha, getting tangled up in Dramageddon, those super sketchy videos involving kids, the racist videos, the entire Smith family drama, those were the real scandals. Making fun of Miley Cyrus? Nobody was even thinking about that. When Shane got into talking about his controversial content, he tried explaining it away by saying it was the kind of stuff he was watching back then that rubbed off on him. He blamed old school shows like Friends and other 90s and early 2000s sitcoms, saying the jokes back then wouldn't survive in today's world. And sure, there's some truth to that. But let's be real, it went way deeper with Shane. It wasn't just a couple of edgy jokes that didn't age well. Shane's controversies had layers, like serious layers. He had dropped multiple apology videos over the years, trying to smooth over the offensive stuff he had put out there. And when everything finally exploded, especially with all the Jeffree Star drama, it wasn't just about old jokes. It was about years of bad behaviour coming back to bite hard. There was a whole wave of stuff coming at Shane. And it wasn't just about offensive jokes anymore. People were side-eyeing everything, questioning his character, wondering what kind of friend he really was, and straight up feeling like the guy they saw on YouTube wasn't the real Shane at all. It got way deeper than just some bad jokes. Folks were genuinely asking, who even is this dude? Trisha had some thoughts too. She said maybe Shane just isn't built for doing interviews like that. Even though she admitted that what he said on the podcast wasn't horrible in the end, she made it clear that Shane doesn't exactly have the standing to come for anybody else. Like, seriously? Still, Trisha kept it real and said she has a soft spot for Shane deep down. She doesn't see him as a bad person, just a traumatized one. But it still stings that Shane can't seem to recognise when he's messed up in friendships, or step up and take real accountability for the hurt he might have caused. But honestly, the wildest moment from Shane's whole podcast? It had to be when he started talking about the Jake Paul docuseries. Shane legit admitted that he reached out to Jake before filming and straight up told him he was going to paint him as a sociopath. Like, what? Who even says that out loud? And to think Jake actually still went along with it. Mind-blowing. And it gets even crazier from there. Shane said that after telling Jake about the whole sociopath angle, Jake was just cool with it. Like, no fight, no pushback. He just let Shane roll with it. People hearing this couldn't believe it. Some even started wondering if Shane was trying to shift blame again, making it seem like Jake was fully on board with being dragged for the whole world to see. But that wasn't all Shane spilled. He started reflecting on how messed up the whole situation really was. But instead of fully owning it, he kind of danced around the real issue. He talked about how fascinated he was with dark psychology back then, how he got caught up in making the story more intense for views. But he didn't really sit there and say, "Yeah, I exploited people." Trisha, hearing all this, pointed out the obvious. Shane keeps playing it like he was just curious or inspired by what he was watching at the time. But that doesn't excuse the fact that real people got hurt. She said that sometimes Shane acts like he's just some clueless bystander in his own scandals, and it's frustrating to watch because there's always more to it. Honestly, it left a lot of people feeling like Shane still doesn't fully get why folks were so mad at him in the first place. Instead of digging deep, it felt like he was just trying to brush past the heavy stuff again, and people were definitely noticing. And just when you thought it couldn't get any messier, Shane also talked about how shocked he was by the backlash he got during that time. Like, he really didn't expect people to turn on him the way they did. He acted like he was blindsided, like he was out here making innocent documentaries and people just misunderstood him. A lot of fans weren't buying that story though. They remembered how the Jake Paul series wasn't just edited to make Jake look shady. It was full-on creepy with the music, the interviews with therapists, and the scenes that made it seem like Jake was dangerous. It wasn't some harmless project. It was designed to mess with people's heads. Trisha also said that it's wild how Shane can sit there now and act like he had no idea it would blow up in his face. She pointed out that Shane had been around the YouTube drama scene for years. He knew exactly how things worked. It wasn't like he was new to the game. She even joked that Shane had drama instincts sharper than a knife, so pretending to be shocked just wasn't convincing anymore. And let's be real, people aren't mad because Shane made a few edgy jokes. They're mad because he built entire careers off tearing others down, all while acting like the funny, harmless guy online. Now that the mask slipped a little, folks are finally connecting the dots. And they're not letting it slide this time. Honestly, I don't know why, but I really thought Shane just went to hang out with Jake, filmed some stuff, and then, while editing later, was like, whoa, maybe this guy's a sociopath. I seriously wasn't under the impression that Shane already had that whole story planned out before he even showed up. But, from what Shane said, he straight up told Jake what he was going to do. And Jake was just like, cool, whatever. Like, what? It's wild to think Shane had the whole angle locked in from the jump, and Jake agreed to it. In my head, it always felt way less sneaky than that. But looking back, maybe it was always calculated and we just didn't catch it. Kind of like how the lifestyle YouTubers recently started exposing that all those candid videos they made were totally planned out. And people were shook like, wait, what? We all used to watch those videos thinking it was real life just unfolding naturally. But nope, it was carefully crafted the whole time. Same with Shane. It seemed like he was just documenting his life and accidentally diving deep into Jake's personal stuff. But Nah, it was way more staged than it looked. Honestly, it's kind of crazy to realize that maybe from the very beginning, all those big Shane series were way more plotted out than we wanted to believe. That's the tea Shane spilled on the podcast. And Trisha wasn't afraid to speak on how she felt about everything after seeing those clips blowing up online. Now, I really want to hear from you. What do you think about all this? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. Don't hold back. And hey, if you're into keeping up with all the messy behind-the-scenes YouTube drama, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. I love you guys so much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!